In 2019, IKEA announced a pilot rental scheme that would take place across 30 different markets. Basically, this is like the Netflix of furniture ownership. You pay a monthly sum to IKEA to use their stuff, and then as soon as you're done with it, you just drop it off like it never happened. Yeah. But in today's world where everything from the music you listen to the phone you use and the house you live in is a monthly cost, do we really need another monthly payment? Believe it or not, this furniture rental idea was born out of IKEA's new sustainability commitments, which they're taking pretty seriously at this point. They got their emission reduction plan approved by science-based targets, and they claim to strive towards 100% renewable energy across the entire IKEA value chain by 2030. And one of their more elaborate ideas in this network is furniture rentals. The idea is that this would help them create a circular business model while relieving everyday people from the onerous task and responsibility of owning literally anything. But nobody is really talking about this, partly because if you're going to watch a video about IKEA, you're probably just gonna see what Nick Lewis has to say about them most recently. He does make so many IKEA videos. No hate, Nick. We love you. But more realistically, people aren't talking about this because it is not common practice to rent a piece of furniture yet. Imagine with me for a moment the future of what this might look like. You could be living in a beautifully organized and coordinated space, and none of the things in that space you are personally responsible for. They break, there's a new fashion trend that comes around the corner, and you have the ability to swap out items and pieces as you feel necessary. IKEA and some other retailers like Feather are testing furniture rentals because there's an increasing number of people moving homes but not necessarily having the means or the interest in furnishing a new place when they get there. There's also a large portion of people spending way more time inside their homes since the pandemic, and they're looking for affordable solutions to give their home a bit of a refresh. This is known as the product as a service model. Basically, it just means that you don't buy the product, but the service that is provided, and the provider of that service is then responsible for that product at the end of its life cycle. We're gonna touch on that later on in the video. This is IKEA's solution to transform into a circular business model. But also, according to Rat Goldenick, assistant professor at Parsons School of Design, Rat? His name's Rat? What? This might be a way for IKEA to change its business model slightly to adapt for a new age where consumers embrace access over ownership to meet their needs. In other words, if you are a millennial, you value the access to the Spotify music library more than you value owning physical CDs. Honestly, I think the last physical CD that I owned was a Nickelback CD. I used to drive around in my 1996 Toyota Corolla, and I had to get a CD player put into that thing, and I would just be blasting. This is how you remind me of what I really am. Not like you to say sorry. Those were simpler times. Now, many of you might be feeling the same way that we did when we did the research for this video, that this probably won't be as popular as Spotify. The thing that's really going to dictate the success of this idea is the price. Out of curiosity, we played around a little bit as if we were furnishing our own living room in the Netherlands with IKEA stuff to see how much it would actually cost us. Okay, now when we started this, we were like, yeah, big items like a couch or whatever makes sense, but you wouldn't rent the lac coffee table, right? We were very wrong, because if you live in the Netherlands right now, you can rent the lac coffee table for €1.67 per month. So back to our hypothetical rented living room situation. We'll need a couch, of course, the lac coffee table, 2 chairs, and a table, just for experimentation. Please don't judge our taste in interior design here. We're doing an experiment, not trying to impress our in-laws. So we get to furnish a rather minimalist living room for just over 68 euros per month, though you have to commit for 1 full year at this price, making it a total of 817 euros for 1 year. After that, most of the items actually drop in price by about a half, and then you can extend your contract on a monthly basis. Once you're done with the furniture, you just give the furniture back to them, and these are supposedly refurbished and either rented again or sold as secondhand, which is kind of a neat way to ensure that these things are properly disposed of. Think for a minute, if you're someone who moves a lot or you just hate the process of moving quite a bit, the process of disassembling and disposing of the stuff that you can't bring with you could be a huge bonus. And maybe for the convenience alone, you're willing to pay a little extra to not have to deal with it. This also, in theory, extends the lifespan of a particular product, which reduces its overall environmental footprint. But now let's break down the math and see how this works out on paper. For our couch, if we buy it brand new, it's 400 euros, but 1 year of rental is 549. That's 150 euros difference. However, our 2 chairs are basically the same price after 1 year. Our table rental price was 148, buying it brand new was 179, so you actually save money there. Our coffee table costs 20 euros for the year, but it's basically that price to buy it outright. When you do all of the math, the price to rent costs 119 euros more than buying, which seems kind of dumb. Hey everyone, just interrupting from the future here to let you know that we have just launched a Shorts channel. Same channel name, just Shorts. We're going to be sharing original content that didn't quite fit into these longer form videos over there, and they're really fun. So if you're interested in more content from us in a short form style, head over there and check it out. Thank you so much for all being here. You're just the freaking best. So after seeing all of this, personally, I can't ever see myself renting furniture. This is the cost after just 1 year, and it's already more expensive. Sure, it does go down in price afterwards, but it just seems like you never really maximize the full value that you could get out of these products. I think there is a rare section of society that just doesn't want to have to deal with it, or they make enough money that it doesn't matter, and this might be a good solution, but my assumption is that for the most part, this won't appeal to everyone. So this pilot program is currently being done in the Netherlands with another company called Move and Rent. And you could argue that because it's a pilot program and it's not being entirely done by IKEA, that the service costs could be higher. But the problem is, it's kind of difficult to get people on board if the offer is not better than what already exists. But IKEA knows this. One of their target groups for renting models are offices. A business can rent a set of 100 office chairs and desks for its employees, and then they have the freedom to upgrade them now and then to keep their office trendy and everything up to snuff. They don't need to get into the logistics of getting rid of old furniture and buying new ones. They just pay monthly and everything is maintained. Plus, this avoids having to invest a lot of money all in one shot, using that money for other more important things. This could be the route that IKEA is really betting on, as studies out of Switzerland has shown that businesses have very little emotional connection to the desks and chairs that they use to get the job done. As opposed to, say, individual consumers like myself who are irrationally attached to their giant yellow couch. You find a giant yellow couch on Facebook Marketplace, what, am I not supposed to buy it? I'm only human. In this business scenario, it seems that this might work. IKEA still owns the products and wants the companies to rent them as long as possible. They then get to re-rent them or resell them after the fact, which keeps the money and the materials inside of that loop. To make the most money out of these products, they need to be lasting as long as possible. That's the opposite of the fast furniture business model that IKEA has depended on. The thing is, if you buy cheap, trendy stuff that breaks apart all the time, you end up buying more of it. But in a rental scheme, companies like IKEA theoretically are incentivized to design and build products that last better, because ultimately they're the ones that lose if that product is disposed of earlier than its optimal value cycle. There are also other products that are following similar leads, like mud jeans, which you can lease, and at the end of your contract, you can keep them for no additional fee, or send them back to be recycled into new jeans, which seems kind of crazy to me. This is still in a test phase though. IKEA still has the opportunity to make things better and more affordable perhaps, and do those final tweaks. But will these tweaks alone be enough for that huge paradigm shift that IKEA is trying to make from fast furniture to whatever we're moving into in the future? Are these things going to be repairable, long-lasting, high quality? We have no idea. The value chain of IKEA products right now is linear. Raw materials are extracted, they're manufactured, they're stored, and then they're sold. And then, at the end, they're thrown out. There's transport in between all of those steps, and everything is built into the systems that we already have established as a society. As you may have seen during COVID, there is a lot of systems and supply chains that support this particular business model. And under circumstances like COVID, everything can get pretty messed up pretty quickly. So they're not just offering a new service. They're kind of building a huge system in the background that would allow this whole operation to work functionally. They're going to need whole facilities and staff and managers to make sure that the stuff that they pick up, drop off, and repair and properly restore or recycle is done in a functional and economically beneficial way. That's an entire system that needs to be built up from nothing, just so this scheme can work on an economic and environmental level. Is that going to be worth it? Well, it can't be much worse than what we have going on right now. And another side of this that I think is particularly cool is it creates a lot of jobs. Apparently, 1 metric ton of buried waste only creates the equivalent of 1 local full-time job, or 3 jobs if it's incinerated. But if you choose to build a recycling system, it can generate 30 jobs for the same task. And with a repair and reuse value chain, it is estimated that you could provide full-time work for 85 to 130 people. This could be a humongous shift. And I would say that IKEA is arguably one of the only companies that could actually pull this off. They're the biggest furniture retailer globally, and their choices and their moves will have a massive influence on the market overall. And on top of this, if they're one of the first companies to adopt a circular business model, they'll be the ones leading in that field as it grows and develops into the future. So what do you think? Is this the end of the right to repair movement for furniture? Are we all going to be leasing our chairs and couches in the future? I would love to hear what you have to say down below, because I think this stuff is fascinating. And if you are into what we're doing here on Future Proof, remember that you can subscribe, and then you'll see every video that we put out every single Wednesday. This is how you remind me of what I really am.